Hello everyone, welcome back if you're new here. My name is Bella and I love all things design and DIY. And today is a second part of a video that I filmed around this time last year where I rated all of my past sewing projects. Now I say all, but it's not actually all, it's just all of the ones that were good enough to make it to the internet. If you sew, you know that there are a lot of very embarrassing projects that will never see the light of day. So I thought today I would do an updated version of projects that are more recent. They're a little bit more skilled up from the previous video. All of these projects I had made a few years later, I would say, than the ones I talked about in the previous video, but I will link that video down below if you want to see kind of how my sewing has progressed. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my Instagram and we're just gonna head on back. Scroll. Where did I want to start this? I'm gonna talk you through a little bit how I made the pieces and then I'm gonna give it a final rating out of 10. So we're starting off with a bit of a basic piece. It's this kind of pastel aqua tank top. Really simple. For this piece I really loved the material. It's a really soft cotton knit, which I absolutely love. And this was one of the first pieces that I really started getting into working with stretch sort of fabrics. And then I went through a big stretch fabric phase, as you'll probably notice throughout this video. I used a tank top that I already had that was just a really basic fit. It had the exact same cut on the front and back and it fit me really well, but not too tight. And it didn't stretch a ton when I put it on, so it made it a really good candidate for cutting a pattern from, which is exactly what I did with this piece, and I've used it multiple other times, and the fit is very spot on. This top is lined, so there's 2 layers of the exact same fabric, so I really like that. I don't have to wear a bra or anything with it. It's quite a like compressed sort of material, but it's still comfortable. It's not too tight, but it still gives me a lot of support. I'm gonna give this top an 8 because it actually did become a bit of a staple in my wardrobe. However, I don't like the way that I finished the seams. You might be able to see a little bit in the photos. I did take knitting elastic and put that in my bobbin and then normal thread in the top and ran a zigzag stitch over the raw edges of the sleeve holes and the hem of the shirt. And so I don't love the way that I finished that, but it still ended up being a really great staple that was comfortable and I like the way it looks and fits. So for that reason, it gets an 8 out of 10. Okay, next we have this really pretty white puffy sleeve dress. This I upcycled from a Duvet cover, I believe, which is fun. I love an upcycling moment. This is very like quintessential cottagecore, which I kind of tried out with a few pieces, and I don't really love this style on me. I don't like puffy sleeves. I was kind of just trying something and I don't think it really worked. Just the proportions and everything of this I don't personally love on me. I do, however, love the dress, and the way that I constructed it I think was pretty good. This I actually made from a t-shirt that I cut apart and kind of made a pattern from that. So considering that, I'm really pleased with the way that it turned out. I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10 because it's not actually me, and in terms of like knowing what sorts of garments work for me and my body and the way that I like to dress myself, I think I could have known myself a little bit more with this, if that makes sense. So for that reason, I'm deducting some points, but it will get a 6 out of 10 because I think it's constructed pretty well. Next is one of my favorite tops. I believe this was from a butterick pattern that I thrifted. So in terms of construction, I didn't make this pattern. However, I did have to like very severely alter it to be my size because I think it was way too big for me. So I'll give myself a few points for that. This one is also double layered, which gives me a few more points, I think. I love the crisscross detail on this. I can't take credit for that, but this is a pattern that I've been able to adapt into like dresses, and so it's a really good piece that I kind of have in my arsenal. The way that I was able to kind of piece all of this together, having 2 layers, you can see that there's a seam down the middle. So I kind of wish that wasn't there, but at the same time, it's not the most offensive thing. However, I do think that it's slightly different colors because the grain of the fabric is running different ways, but I didn't have very much to work with. I made this out of scraps from another project, so that's why it's kind of mismatched. All that being said, I think this one is going to get a 6.5 because it could fit just a little bit better. It does kind of shift around when I wear it. And then just the little nitpicky construction things, I think, make it lose a few points. But it is very flattering. This sort of shape, if you have a small bust, very flattering shape for you, in my opinion at least. So this is the dress that top was scraps from. I absolutely love the way that this dress fits on me. This is a pattern that I made from a vintage bathing suit I have. It's like a quintessential 80s Baywatch sort of style one piece. So I took that and then kind of continued it down and used a few dresses that I had, as well as obviously just my body measurements to continue this into a dress. I love the way that it fits. However, I wish that I had lined this dress instead of just doing one layer and then turning over the edges. This is definitely me still getting the hang of finishing edges of stretch fabric, so I'm gonna deduct some points for that. I'd say this is a 6 out of 10. I love the color, I love the cut, but in terms of construction, the little finishing details could have been paid a lot more attention to. This next piece is a matching set that I did a little thrift flip with. So this piece originally was a long skirt. I love the material of it. It's that really like heavy, slinky, kind of tiny ribbed stretch material, which I find is just really flattering. So I love that, and I absolutely love the color, but I don't love long skirts on me. So I cut this off. I'm gonna rate this in 2 sections for the bottom and the top because I have mixed feelings about them. The bottom I'm gonna rate a 10, but that's kind of cheating because most of it I didn't actually construct, I just hemmed it. However, this was one of my first attempts at a lettuce hem, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. It created this really cute ruffle. I wish I could remember how I did it. I think I just put my machine on a really small zigzag stitch with elastic thread, but I could be wrong. In terms of the top, obviously because I cut the fabric off, I only had so much to work with. So I wish that this was constructed a bit differently. I ended up having to line this with a completely mismatched fabric on the inside. And so where this bow ties together here, you can kind of see that. It's like a pale pink cotton material that I lined it with. So I don't love that. Just this section here where it comes together is not constructed super well. However, the fit of the top overall, I do like on myself. So I'm gonna give the top an 8 out of 10. Next we have this really cute cotton dress. This I upcycled out of bed sheeting. Obviously you can see it in the back of this photo. I used a LUTTERLOH pattern for this. If you are curious about the LUTTERLOH pattern drafting kit, I'll link my video about it down below. So this was one of the first pieces that I made with that pattern kit, and I really like the way that it turned out in terms of fit. It was really accurate. This is a really comfortable dress. However, again, similar to the puffy sleeve one, it's just not my style. I wish it was, but I just don't love the way that I look in these kind of like really girly, airy, fairy sort of looks. I love them on other people, but they're just not me. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10 because I love the way that it's made, and I paid a lot of attention to the little details after with all the lace finishes and stuff. And I also cut the bottom of this on the bias, which made it really, really pretty in terms of the way that it kind of hung and moved, but not my style. I'm aware that all these ratings are a little bit high so far, but here's where we get down low. This looks okay in an Instagram picture, but I'm gonna rate the top and bottom separately. The bottoms are upcycled from a duvet cover. These are huge pants, like huge. Not in terms of not fitting me properly, but like I just cut them so wide at the bottom because I wanted them to be really dramatic and just kind of, I don't know, like a fun big summer pant. However, the material is so stiff. It's a really nice, like crunchy cotton material, but it's just not at all what I should have used for that kind of cut. And then you'll notice on the waistband, I did quite a thick band over where the elastic is to create kind of a ruffle. This I really love, but again, it just made it all the more exaggerated, which is what I was going for, but I don't think I should have used this fabric. So I'm gonna give these pants like a 3 because I think this is the only time I've worn them, and I'm probably just gonna use the fabric of the pants for another project in the future. The top is another upcycled piece, and this was the last few inches off of a linen shirt that I hemmed. It's a button down, so it kind of curves down like this and up at the sides. So you can sort of see that shape, which I think is kind of fun. But just in general, this concept didn't work because you can kind of see it's like very droopy at the bottom of the bust, not flattering whatsoever. I'm honestly gonna give this, I'll give it a 2. Because the elastic finishes where it's like ruffling at the top and bottom, I do like. I think that's a pretty detail, and I will say I did do the finishes well, but the actual concept and the fit of it is atrocious. Here we have another opportunity for some very low ratings. This is a bathing suit. Putting that in quotations because I don't even think I can call this a bathing suit. I've basically given up on trying to make swimwear. It might be something that I attempt again this summer. I don't know. I just can never get it right. It never has enough support. It's just always trash. But this was definitely, I think, my absolute worst swimwear attempt. I hate it. I hate looking at it. I should delete these pictures actually. It's not flattering on my body type, first of all. I don't think, at least for the way that I like to look. The sarong is definitely covering the lack of construction on the bottoms. There's no support in either of these pieces. I would never wear these other than just for a photo or like tanning. This also was not at all the right material that I should have used for this project. It's almost like a gauze that has elastic thread running through it. So it does have stretch, but it's not the kind of stretch material that you should be using for swimwear that will actually offer you support, especially after getting it wet. So this is not practical, it's not flattering. I don't even really like the material the longer I look at this photo. I'm giving this a 1 out of 10. Some people might think that's being really harsh, but trust me, if you saw it in person or wore it, it's horrendous. Okay, this is a dress that I absolutely love. Love, love, love. This was a fun one because this is a chiffon fabric that I cut on the bias. I think I elasticized all of the finishes around the edges. So it has almost like a little bit of a frayed finish, but it is very secure, trust me. I believe I did cut the bottom to be asymmetric, but even further than that, on the shorter side, I ran some elastic thread up the side seam, just about to my waist, so that it really like cinched it up. This is a cut that I find to be really flattering on me, and so I love this. I love this. The only thing I'm gonna deduct a point for is the fact that I didn't line this, which I kind of like, but I kind of don't like. So 9 out of 10. Okay, this is a dress that you can't see in amazing detail in either of these photos. It's a really pretty knit turquoise material. I still have this dress because I'm planning on reusing it somehow and just making it a little bit more flattering this summer. I like this in theory, but it does have a bit of a saggy effect to it that I don't like at all. Generally, like, I like the way that it looks in these photos. I've seen candid photos of myself in this dress, however, and I hate it. So that made me question the fit. At first I thought, this is amazing, I look so good in this dress, and then I saw some other photos and I thought, you did not do the best with this fit. So this is gonna get repurposed. I honestly might make this into like separate pieces, or maybe just a skirt could work nicely. I really only use this dress as like a bathing suit cover up anyways. The neckline you can't see in here, but it goes kind of like this and then cuts down, and then the back is quite low. And it's slightly see-through because it is just a really light knit. So overall, like, there's pros and cons. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. And we'll see how we can repurpose it.